Back in August 2022, we mourned the death of Ryan Fellows, one of the drivers on Street Outlaws.
Ryan Fellows, a star from Street Outlaws, chased speed for a living. He lived for the race, pushed the limits, and lit up the screen with energy, until one heartbreaking moment changed everything. Join us as we unravel the tragedy behind the thrill for Ryan. The joy to riding. Ryan Fellows lived for the thrill. From the beginning, he pushed through life with a kind of boldness that didn't fade. He always found his way toward machines that roared and roads that dared him to go faster. Every part of his world turned around speed, motion, and the endless desire to outdo himself. He wasn't just someone who liked cars. He became someone who lived for racing, someone who let the asphalt pull him in and shape his days. Growing up, he found joy in building things. He worked with tools, pulled engines apart, and put them back together again, always trying to make them faster. He didn't care about lights or shiny paint. What mattered to him was power, control, and how a car moved when pushed to its limit. Over time, he began to build a name for himself among others who loved street racing. He showed up, stood out, and didn't back away from challenges. Every loss pushed him to do more. Every win reminded him that he was on the right path. He never gave up when things got tough. Instead, he rolled up his sleeves and fixed what needed fixing. Whether it was a bad tune-up or a blown tire, he stayed focused and figured things out. That kind of effort brought him into the world of Street Outlaws, where street racers went head-to-head in battles that mixed grit with skill. This wasn't a world built on comfort. This was a world where racers had to earn respect every time they got behind the wheel. Ryan came into Street Outlaws, fastest in America with a fire that couldn't be put out. He didn't care about drama or fame. He just wanted to race. He showed up with his car, a gold Nissan 240Z, and proved he belonged. The car didn't look like the others. It didn't match the usual choices, but that's what made it special. Ryan had built it with care, putting in work day and night to make it his own. Every bolt, every part, carried his touch. He didn't talk big. He let his driving do all the work. He didn't come from a long racing family. He built himself up from scratch. His path wasn't easy. He juggled work, family, and racing. He ran a business, took care of responsibilities, and still found time to chase his dream. That made people notice him. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He just kept showing up and kept pushing harder. Each race brought new pressure, but Ryan never stepped back. He kept showing up with grit in his eyes and a goal in his heart. Off the track, he spent time with his loved ones. He made room for family even when racing took up his hours. He taught his kids how to dream big and work hard. He showed them that life was about more than talk. It was about getting up, pushing forward, and never letting fear take over. Even when the pressure built up, he didn't walk away. He pushed his car harder each round, tuning and adjusting, never letting one bad night shake him. Sometimes he won, sometimes he didn't, but every time he gave it everything. Until one very time came. An unfinished race. Ryan Fellows had built a name for himself in the world of street racing. He wasn't just another driver chasing speed. He had turned his love for racing into something bigger. People across the country knew his face from the Discovery Channel's Street Outlaws, fastest in America. He showed up on screen with passion, pushing himself harder with each race. The cars, the roads, the noise, the lights. It all became part of who he was. But everything changed during one filming session outside Las Vegas. That night, the production team had gone out into the desert, far from city streets and traffic. They had picked a stretch of road near North Las Vegas Boulevard, not far from the Harry Allen power plant. They had the paperwork in place. Everything had been set up properly. Local deputies were already in the area to watch over the filming. It was supposed to be just another shoot, another race, another rush of speed on the hot desert ground. Ryan was behind the wheel of his gold Nissan 240Z. The race had already picked up steam. The engine roared and the tires gripped the pavement. But something went wrong as he neared the finish line. The car began to swerve and soon lost balance. Within seconds, the vehicle flipped. It rolled over with brutal force, then burst into flames. The fire spread before anyone could run up to the car. No one could reach him. Time slipped away too fast. Deputies on the scene immediately called for help. The emergency call came through around 12:30 on Sunday morning. They waited as paramedics tried to rush to the location. But in that empty desert where roads stretch endlessly and the darkness hangs heavy, help didn't get there quickly enough. Ryan didn't make it out. His life ended on that patch of desert pavement beneath the smoke and flashing lights. The crash left everyone shaken. Friends, crew members, and fans were all hit hard by the sudden loss. Brad Sparks, someone who had stood beside Ryan through many races and long nights, explained that the vehicle had spun out of control. The impact had been too strong and the flames had moved too fast. There was no chance to pull him out in time. News of the crash first spread through TMZ. As more people found out, messages of sorrow poured in. Ryan had helped push the series forward with energy and commitment. Each race he entered had been full of risk, but no one expected this outcome. By Tuesday, the Nevada Occupational Safety and Health Administration confirmed that it had begun a formal inspection into the accident. The investigation had been triggered by the fatal crash. Officials stepped in to figure out what had happened, what might have gone wrong, and how to stop anything like this from happening again. They refused to give out full details, pointing to the fact that the investigation was still open. Authorities did not treat the case as criminal. They handed it over to Occupational Safety and Health Administration for a deeper look into safety procedures and production practices. Everything needed to be examined: how the race had been set up, who had been involved, what safety steps were taken, and whether the track had been prepared correctly. The review would take time, but those involved needed answers. Ryan's devastating demise marked a painful moment for the racing community. He had brought heart and skill to every scene. He didn't back down from the challenge. People remembered how he handled the track, how he got into the car with full focus, and how he always aimed to leave it all behind on the road. That night he had done the same, but the speed, the flames, and the crash had stolen everything too fast. Out in that desert where the lights from Las Vegas no longer reached, one man's final race had come to an end. It wasn't supposed to happen that way, but it did. And now, those who watched him race, those who worked beside him, and those who loved him would have to carry on without him. They would hold on to the memory of the man who raced until the very end, in a car that once carried dreams but now sat in pieces under the desert sky, pushing through the limits. On that Sunday afternoon, a fundraising page appeared online, created to support the family of Ryan Fellows. This online campaign was started by someone who had known him for decades and wanted to help in a meaningful way. Ryan had left behind a wife and 2 children, one just 10 years old and the other already 18. He had always loved fast cars, loud engines, and the thrill of speed. That passion followed him from childhood into adulthood, and he never let go of it. His friend of over 20 years, Brad Sparks, had watched Ryan grow into a strong figure both on and off the track. No matter how far Ryan went with his racing career, no matter how famous he became through the Discovery Channel's Street Outlaws, Fastest in America, he didn't change who he was inside. Even after the cameras started rolling and people began recognizing his face, Ryan held on to the values he'd grown up with. He kept his feet on the ground and pushed forward with the same hard-working nature that had always been part of him. Brad Sparks, though 4 years older, always admired Ryan. Long before the fame came through television, Ryan had already built up a life that others respected. He had run several businesses successfully. He had figured out how to turn those profits into fuel for his passion, literally. He poured the money back into racing, buying better equipment, upgrading his cars, and taking part in faster and more dangerous races. The money didn't just sit in the bank, it went straight into chasing something bigger. What made Ryan different was the way he chased after that finish line. It wasn't just about winning for him, it was about pushing through the limits, breaking down the barriers, and reaching a place that others were too afraid to go. That goal gave him the energy to keep going, even when the road got rough. Each race became more than just a contest. It turned into a personal battle between fear and determination. And Ryan didn't back down. Sadly, the crash that took Ryan's life wasn't the first dangerous moment connected to the show. Earlier in the same year, another serious accident had taken place. It happened in Texas during the filming of a race. J.J. DeBoss, another star from the show, had been racing with his wife when the unexpected occurred. One of the cars burst into flames right in the middle of the track. Fire broke out without warning, and before anyone could react, the burning car lost control and smashed into the other vehicle. Both racers were hurt, and the danger of street racing once again became very clear. These incidents painted a darker picture behind the scenes of the show. While audiences watched the races for entertainment, the risks were very real for those involved. The drivers didn't just show up for fame or screen time, they put their lives on the line with each race. Ryan knew those dangers. He had lived with them for years. Yet he still chose to keep moving forward, chasing that same finish line over and over again. Even as the news spread and people reached out for information, Discovery Channel stayed silent. No official response came from them right after the crash. Those closest to Ryan didn't wait for statements. They focused on remembering the man who had brought so much energy to everything he did. Friends, fans, and loved ones began to gather online, sharing memories, photos, and stories. They came together not just to grieve, but to support the family he had left behind. The racing world felt the loss deeply. Ryan wasn't just another driver. He had worked hard for everything he had achieved. He had taken big risks to follow his dreams. He had built up his career from the ground and never let go of his roots. The road he followed was not easy. There were failures, crashes, and close calls, but Ryan kept getting back up and pushing forward. He chased after his dreams, no matter the risk. And even in the end, he never let go of the drive that kept him going. Born for speed. Ryan's life was full of motion. He moved between jobs, races, and home life without losing his balance. He handled his shop, ran his business, and kept up with all the details of building and tuning fast cars. He learned as he went, picking up skills from experience. He read situations, fixed what was wrong, and trusted his hands to get the job done. He made mistakes, but he never let them hold him down. He used each one to grow. On the road, he drove with intensity. He held nothing back. His focus stayed fixed on the finish line. When he pulled up to race, people stopped and watched. He brought edge and power to every moment. He didn't flinch. He held steady even when the road got slick or the pressure grew. He had a way of locking into the moment, tuning out everything except the car and the race ahead. What made Ryan special wasn't just his skill, it was how much he gave. He poured his energy into every race. He didn't let shortcuts pull him in. He stayed honest with the sport. He did the work. He put in the hours. And he never expected things to come easy. That's what made people respect him. He earned every place he reached. The world of Street Outlaws is full of big moments and hard crashes. It's fast, risky, and unforgiving. Still, Ryan never backed away. He stepped into that world with both feet and never held back. He accepted the danger. He lived with the risk. And when it came down to it, he trusted his car and his instincts. His final race ended in tragedy. The crash shook everyone who knew him. He was pushing through the strip during a race for fastest in America, trying to keep control when his car lost grip and flipped. It rolled and caught fire. Help came, but it was too late. The loss hit deep. It left a mark on the racing world that won't fade. It reminded everyone that this sport demands everything. Even in his final moments, Ryan was doing what he loved. He was in his element. He was chasing speed, giving it his all. That's how people remember him, not as someone who slowed down, but as someone who kept moving forward until the very end. His demise left a hole in the show and in the lives of those who raced beside him. He had become part of a tight group that ran on grit and fire. They knew what it meant to show up and risk everything for the thrill of the strip. Ryan had earned his place among them through effort, passion, and drive. People now look back and hold on to the moments he gave them, the races, the grit, the drive, and the way he kept coming back stronger. He didn't reach for glory. He chased something deeper. He chased the feeling of beating the odds, of outpacing fear, of holding on to something real in a world that often spins out of control. Ryan Fellows left behind more than just a car. He left behind a story of effort, grit, and motion. He lived fast, not because he wanted to run from anything, but because he wanted to get the most out of life. He didn't slow down. He didn't give up. He held on tight, pushed through the gears, and gave everything he had. In the end, that's what made his story stick. So what's Street Outlaws all about? Let's find out. Street Outlaws. Street Outlaws started in June 2013 on Discovery Channel, and it grew into a long-running show that draws fans into a world of street racing in Oklahoma City and beyond. It shows how local racers push hard to land on the so-called list, the 10 fastest cars in OKC. This drives drama and keeps viewers hooked. The crew includes names that echo through every season. Big Chief, who also works as the race organizer, leads from behind the wheel. Murder Nova holds the #1 spot early on, and he stays hot on races with Doc, Monza, Daddy Dave, Chuck, Farm Truck, AZN, Lutz, Sean Ellington, and others, each racing to climb up or hold fast on the list. Season 1 rolls out 8 episodes starting June 10, 2013. The opening episode sees Chuck calling out Flip, with Farm Truck gunning for a spot while the list jockeys send each other off into callouts. It moves into fiery rivalries like Doc versus Murder Nova and Daddy Dave battling Monza. Fights break out, cops break in, and the list stays in constant motion. Season 2 and 3 take on rivals from Texas, Chicago, Tulsa, New Orleans, and Detroit. The OKC racers go on road trips and face off in big stakes races. Season 4 brings in Chicago rivals in Down from Chi-Town and a showdown with Alabama and Southeast racers in multi-part events. Each race night brings tough calls and high drama. By Season 4 and 5, big names like Daddy Dave, Big Chief, Sean, Doc, and Monza keep feeding the show's core. Episodes like Last Car Standing in Season 1 and Ova for Murder Nova in Season 4 are ranked by fans as some of the most memorable races ever aired. There are spin-off series too. Street Outlaws. America's List emerged around 2021, and it brings racers from across the country to compete for a national ranking. They expand the list and throw in big race nights with qualifiers, call-out rules, rivals from California to Memphis, and more challenges than ever before. This spin-off shows how the OKC crew stacks up against others on a national scale. Other spin-offs, like Locals, only bring in smaller players who fight for a chance to race one of the Street Outlaws for $5,000. That gives fresh names a shot at center stage and keeps the pacing lively. Reviews and ratings show a varied performance. A fan rating tracker notes season averages ranging from around 8 for Season 1 and 2 up to 8.5 for Season 4, then down in later seasons to mid-7s and 6s by Season 7. Overall, the series averages about 7.9 out of 10 across multiple seasons with thousands of votes. Episode list records from IMDb show details like titles, dates, and viewer counts where available. For example, Episode 1, titled Midnight Riders, aired June 10, 2013, and got strong feedback even if official viewers' data wasn't public. Other episodes keep building fan engagement, and the cast shifts with new blood or veterans dropping off and later returning. Fans online point out standout matchups and key moments. High-stakes call-outs, car upgrades, road trips outside OKC, and heated rivalries make episodes feel electric. Sometimes crashes bring down Speed Kings. Other times, comebacks steal the show. Episodes that bring together top racers jostling for the #1 rank get fans to vote them among best ever aired. The cast interact off-camera too, trading banter and building loyalty or friction. Big Chief stays central as driver and organizer, planning race nights and fielding challengers. Murder Nova fights to stay #1, while Doc and Monza test their builds again and again. Farm Truck and AZN hustle with underdog tactics and street hustles to climb, while Chuck and Daddy Dave stir up drama with bold calls and smack talk. Behind the lens, producers craft episodes with a mix of street test runs, police interference, brawls, and late-night builds. Race nights feature staged call-outs that give structure, but surprises lurk around every corner. The show uses real car tuning, drag strip shoots, and often pushes laws to keep tension high. Streaming data shows the show stays in rotation on platforms like Hulu, Max, Amazon Video, Discovery Plus, the Roku channel, and others. As of July 25, 2025, there were 15 seasons available on most services, each with around 51 minutes runtime per episode and rated TV 14. Viewing guides highlight that the show climbed onto Just Watch streaming charts, shifting thousands of chart positions in a day on user activity patterns. That shows a steady fan base even years later. Fans on Reddit measure head-to-head stats. One thread sums up career wins and losses for Murder Nova, Big Chief, Farm Truck, Doc, and others during seasons 1 to 9. It shows win ratios and reflects how competition stays personal and intense across arcs. A lot of episodes serve as turning points. Season 1's finale sets New Orleans rivals into motion. Season 4's early episodes bring in old rivals and pave way for high-stakes regional throwdowns. The show often circles back to favorites and returns with new upgrades and rematches. Later seasons introduce pro mod builds, turbocharged engines, remote races, and events like Texas Motorplex contests that feel like underground NASCAR in scale. The tone stays casual but tense. Drivers plan builds in garages, race late at night, and bring personal stories. Some get hurt, others lose their cars, but they repair fast and get right back in. Several episodes balance crashes with comeback stories and emotional beats, letting viewers connect to personalities as much as engines. Every season builds on rivalries and new faces. People like Kai Kelly, JJ Dayboss, Ryan Martin, Johnny Quick, and others join America's List spin-off, raising the stakes for the original OKC crew. New rules let top racers call out outsiders and push list sizes bigger to 25 spots nationwide. Ratings show that early seasons hit peak fan love around a 8.5 rating, then leveled out as more seasons came out. That matches typical long-running reality shows. Fans stick around, but show momentum shifts over time. Some seasons dip to 6.5 average, but main cast stories keep pulling interest. Across the years, the show kept adding episodes. At least 14 seasons aired by 2019 with over 100 episodes. Later seasons extended beyond that into 15 seasons by mid-2025, totaling well over 100 episodes across the franchise. The show's format still puts list racing and callouts at the heart. Every episode shows racers taking on challenges, fixing cars, chasing rivals, controlling speed, and driving down highways or back streets at dawn. It's a cycle of build-up and showdown and fall and rebuild. That pattern hooks fans and gives each member a chance to shine or to lose big. In simple words, Street Outlaws offers gritty action driven by personalities. It mixes street test runs with list drama and hometown rivalries. Cast members like Big Chief, Murder Nova, Farm Truck, Doc, Monza, Chuck, Lutz, Sean, and others form a rotating but core group whose stories unfold across seasons. Episodes build up rifts, resolve with races, and push the list up or down. Ratings show strong early seasons and steady mid-show appeal. Spin-offs stretch it nationwide, adding racers from across states to give it fresh tension. Over time, more seasons, more races, more national drama, more personal arcs. Fans tune in to catch crashes, rematches, build-ups, sleep-deprived build nights, and street justice. The cars may differ by turbo or teardown, but the show stays glued to a cycle of challenge, rivalry, race, and rebuild, keeping it lively across more than a decade.